The day I started represented the 52-week low. Within a few weeks, we were at 10 cents. I reconstituted the board, and we've been one of the best performing stocks since. If you've got some of the veins from one of the highest grade gold deposits on the planet, literally going pretty much right up to your property border, and you've got 8 veins outcropping at surface in the middle of Nevada, we're pulling at threads. And luckily now we know, we're finally starting to get some more. I'm not getting out of bed for an 8 gram per ton intercept, but I'll take that at the top of a system. I'm getting out of bed to find the similar stuff that Midas found and you see at Hollister. Those are, 2 of the top 10 highest grade gold mines on the planet at one point.
Hello and welcome to Crux Investor. We spoke earlier today to Andrew Pollard. He's the CEO of Blackrock Gold Corp. They're a junior gold explorer in Nevada with some high-grade results, they hope. They talk to us about their plans for 2020, and he also lets us know what he discovered that Teck and Placer Dome didn't. Look in the description below to check some of the topics we cover off, and if you want to look at any of those specifically, click on the timestamp and that'll take you to that part of the video. And if I could ask that you click the button in the corner of the screen to subscribe to our YouTube channel. If of course you want to see more videos like this, click the notification bell. Anyway, let's hear what Andrew had to say. Andrew, how are you, sir?
Very good to be here. Actually, I'm at my house right now, so it's normal that I'm here, but it's good to be with you. So
brilliant. Well, thanks for joining us. Blackrock, we actually got requests from some of our subscribers to talk to you because you had a hell of a ride last year. Okay, I think you were telling me earlier when you stepped in, it was at 3 cents, and yeah, you drove that up in one of the best performing stocks. But we'll get into that. But let's start with a 1-minute summary, helicopter view for people new to this story.
Yeah, well, listen, you sort of hit the nail on the head. It's been a hell of a ride, and in the past month or so, we've just been stopping to fill for gas. We're only midway along the journey. So, what we've got about a 45 square kilometer land holding in Nevada, where 2 prolific gold regions intersect. We're at the northeast tip of the Carlin Trend, right where it intersects the northern Nevada Rift. Our property is called Silver Cloud. So, effectively, our project, on one side, it's got some of the largest gold mines in North America. We're about 20 miles north of Goldstrike, which is the single largest gold mine in North America. Mm-hmm. But our mineralization is more in line with the Northern Nevada Rift, which has some of the highest grade gold mines in the planet. We're right next door to the Hollister mine, which I think their average grades are around 39 grams per ton. That was a 1 million ounce discovery. We're just south of the Midas mine, which was the basis for, that was such a good project that it made Franco-Nevada change their business strategy and get into the mine building business in the 90s. That's a 3.5 million ounce project, which, I think at their discovery was 30 grams per ton. So we're targeting, we've got this huge land holding. It's very rare to have a junior company with this sort of real estate. Our property consists of 572 mining claims. Most other companies down there might have 50 to 100. So right. People say you've only got one project. Well, we've probably got the equivalent of 4 to 5, and it's target rich. So
well, let's get into that. Before you tell me the whole story. Let's pause for breath. Let's go back to the beginning. You joined in May. You came into the company in May. Why did you come in, and what happened around that time?
Yeah, well, listen, there's generally 2 reasons why people do things, either inspiration or desperation. I stepped in here out of pure desperation. My background actually for the last 15 years, and keep in mind I'm only turning 35 in a couple of weeks from now. But my background for 15 years was as a management consultant. I actually had an executive search firm where my business was ensuring that the right people were behind the right projects. And all I did was mining. Mm-hmm. I actually, I guess I got burned. It's ironic because what happened was I became so myopic and so focused on the quality of this project that I invested in and solicited investment from other people on the back of Silver Cloud, and I didn't really look at, I guess, the people that were behind the scenes calling the shot too much, and it wasn't a winner. Listen, good projects get broken by bad management teams all the time, and I'm going to be the first to say that. When I saw what was going on at the company about 1.5 years after they acquired the project, I had a reputational stake on the line. Certainly, I had a big position of the company. I had put I believe $100,000 into the original transaction private placement that they did at 10 cents. But more than that, I brought clients and I brought people in on the back of it, and it was embarrassing to see a company.
So tell us about what was happening. What was your problem with that, with the team that were there?
Sure. Yeah. In the preceding year, management had raised $1.6 million. Over the course of 9 months, they'd spent $1.9 million. And all that had been accomplished was effectively 42 soil samples. The company was out of money. It was unfinanceable. I got out of bed one morning and I saw a news release where management was going to be proposing to raise another $1.6 million at 5 cents. They were going to issue 32 million shares and 16 million half warrants. It would have absolutely killed the company. So I just said, you know what, guys, we can do better. And I made them an offer I guess they couldn't refuse. And I said, I'm going to come in, I'm going to clean this thing up. And that's what I did. Listen, my background's in building teams. Well, that's the power I have. I've got a good contact book. So what I did is I went about reconstituting the board. It's funny, as you said, we were 3 cents when I started. That was the day I started represented the 52-week low. It actually, the stock sold down on the news of me joining because they thought, okay, who the hell is this guy? Within a few weeks, we were at 10 cents. I reconstituted the board, and we've been one of the best performing stocks since.
Okay, so that team left. You made them an offer they can't refuse. I love that phrase. One of my favorite movies. Nothing too terminal, I hope. So they've gone. You brought some new people on board. So that talks about the team, but this asset has been around for a while. You had it, obviously. Let's talk about the well-trodden path, I guess. But Tech and Placer were also in there. What are you going to do that they couldn't?
Well, listen, you know what's interesting is this project hasn't been drilled since about 2005 until we just completed our first drill program on it in December. What are we doing? Well, listen, this project represents a time capsule. What's happened in the last 15 years from a regional geology perspective is, I guess, sort of like that movie Pleasantville, that old one where everyone was seeing in black and white and all of a sudden they start seeing in color. Well, what's happened in the last 15 years is the discovery was made right next door, the Hollister deposit. Everyone, the Northern Nevada Rift trends in a northwest orientation. The vein systems of Midas, which was one of the sort of original discoveries in which Teck and Placer Dome had thought the vein systems would run, they ran north-south. So when Teck came in 1999, they drilled a few holes right into the middle of the old Silver Cloud Mercury mine, and they hit some banger intercepts, some very high-grade sniffs. But what they did, and their mistake was they followed it up, drilling, thinking the veins would go vertically north-south. While they couldn't connect the dots, they got no joy. It was because, they were operating under a faulty understanding of the system. While it was only in the early 2000s.
Says who? Who says they were doing that?
Yeah, so says our initial results. Our first drill program was set out to prove one thing, and it was a proof of concept. It was that Teck and Placer got the orientation of the system completely wrong. Instead of the veins going north-south, they go east-west, just like the discovery next door at Hollister. That discovery was made after all of the drilling at our project had been done previously. So what happened in those 15 years? What we bring to the table is the understanding of what happened right next door, and that unlocks the potential of this project.
Okay.
So yeah.
So tell me about the technical team, because obviously you're not technical. You worked in mining consultancy, but on the recruitment side, right? So
right.
Who's the team behind you, allowing you to drive this thing forward?
Yeah, as you said, listen, I'm not technical, and I wanted to ensure that I got the best of breed here. So I actually went right back to the guy who used to run exploration for Placer Dome. He had oversight of over their entire Americas division. And Placer was one of the largest gold companies on the planet at the time. His name is Bill Howell. I brought him on as executive chair. He's effectively calling all of the shots at the project level. And guess what? He was the one who compelled Placer Dome to do the joint venture with Teck when they drilled Silver Cloud back in 2001, 2002. He is excited. It's not me that came up with this change in orientation. It was him. He looked at all of the data, the drilling that Teck had done, the drilling that he did with Placer, and he realized that, you know what, if you take the preconceived notions about how the vein system should be, and you load everything into Leapfrog, all the previous historic intercepts, and you put it through an east-west plane, they all line up like you're looking through the barrel of a gun. So he put together, 17 years later, he's back at the helm. He's been giving the keys, and I'm letting him drive. And yeah, he's very happy to pick up right where he left off with a new idea, and it looks like the idea is starting to pan out.
Okay, interesting there. And who's the finance guy behind all this?
Well, listen, I'm sort of a jack of all trades here. We're a lean and mean team. So I put the coffee on in the morning. I'm handling things on the capital market side of the business,
right,
and getting the dollars, and I'm letting Bill do what he does best. I'll give him the money and let him find the gold.
Well, let's talk about that. So you're handling the capital market side of things. So you're not necessarily a capital markets guy, but you definitely are dynamic. What are you doing? You're going in and talking to people.
Well, listen, my background, I'm not a capital markets per se, but I've had a huge exposure to capital markets throughout my life. My father was head of institutional sales for a large brokerage in Vancouver. He had a lot of mining exposure. The way I learned about the industry early on when I started my practice was actually in buying stocks, because when you buy stocks, you're immersed in the companies you follow. And that's how as I was focused on mining, all I did was invest in mining stocks. I followed them. I'd hound management. I'd take big positions into companies, into private placements. So my understanding of capital markets, I opened up my first trading account when I was 19, and have been wildly active ever since.
Yeah, but there's going to be a bunch of people watching this interview, we hope, with the same experience. That doesn't necessarily mean they're going to leap into running a mining company. So what are you doing? What are you actually doing?
Some of my old biggest clients before were on the investment banking side too. I worked with Sprott, or Resource Line. I've worked with so it's about immersion. Whether you do the securities course or not, that's a month-long endeavor. I think I can take a French course for 10 years in elementary school and high school, and I still can't speak a lick of it. Or I can go to France for a month and come out fluent. So
right.
I took the immersion route. In terms of my secret sauce, listen, I've got a great network. Not many recruiters that are focused on, since I started my company in 2006, about 90% of that time has been in one horrific bear market. Now imagine trying to be a recruiter in the face of just nothing but layoffs. The only reason I've been able to make a living, and a pretty good one at that, previously was because I was good at my job, and I had no leverage to compel people to hire the people I introduced them to, is because I was connected, and everyone that ended up getting hired was a value add.
Right.
So that's what I bring here.
That's the team. I do like your energy a lot. Let's talk about the business plan. Now, don't tell me about drilling. I want a business plan. What kind of company are you trying to be? What are you just gonna develop? Drill a few holes, get some results, and then get someone else to take it over? Or are you gonna? Don't talk to me about building things out. You're so early stage. You can't possibly be thinking like that.
You think I'm crazy? Holy
right.
cow!
No. So tell me what's going on in your head there. What does the next 2 years look like for you?
Oh my goodness! 2 years from now, I'm seeing beaches. I'm seeing yachts.
Right.
When you're.
Come on.
We've got.
Let's get serious.
We've got. If this isn't a proximity play, the project stands on its own technical merit. But if this was, in terms of real estate, this would be akin to a corner lot in Beverly Hills. We're surrounded. The reason, Golden Triangle, Red Lake, those are just junior mining investors. There's a euphoria there. In terms of ounces in the ground, in terms of historic production, the Northern Nevada Rift, the Carlin Trend make those areas look like the kiddie pool. We've got an Olympic-sized swimming pool here, and 45 is target rich. So what we're doing is, it's going to be hard to discuss my business plan with you, an exploration company, if it doesn't involve drilling, because frankly, I'd be leery of explorationists that don't get to that.
But I guess the question is, you're talking to you want to talk to a bunch of retail investors, family offices, high net worths, etc. You know a lot of the institutional guys.
We're surrounded by Listen, there's big yellow trucks driving by us every day hauling ore. We're surrounded by Newmont, Barrick. Hecla owns all of the ground around us. They've got 3 operating mines right now, and a mill which are trucking everything to about 15 kilometers away from us.
Right.
We're not in Timbuktu. Listen, I I get a coffee from Starbucks in Battle Mountain, and by the time I'm at the site, it's still hot, and I get full bars on my reception. So this is the place to be. Now, the reason there's not the euphoria is because about where we are, and I think it's just an understanding that people don't grasp, is that Barrick and Newmont and Hecla aren't putting out news releases every other day. All this ground has been staked for 30, 40 years. Our project, the guy who owns it staked it in 1999, since before the discovery next door was made of the high grade veins. In fact, Hollister, even though now it's an underground mine, it started out very similar to what Silver Cloud looks like. Hollister was originally a mercury mine. Silver Cloud's named after a huge mercury mine in the area. Not many people don't know this, but Robert Friedland got us started Hollister. It was actually in the late 80s, early 90s, it was operated as an open pit. What they did was they drilled some shallow holes into the mercury mine there, and they were able to pick up some good sniffs of disseminated gold. And Galactic Resources operated that as their subsidiary called Ivanhoe. It was called the Ivanhoe Mine. He kept the name. He liked it. It's got a special place for him. So, as a first-time CEO, I think I'm in a good area to start my career too.
Okay, but again, the question is, what's the business plan? You're saying
So listen, we're hot on the trail of we've been able to connect the dots on something that neither Teck or Placer could figure out. We've now proved our concept in terms of at least the orientation of the vein system. We think we've got this problem solved in a two-dimensional perspective. What the initial results are that we had released, and keep in mind, we haven't released the full hole yet. We still got more assays pending in a matter of weeks. But what those initial results said, we were right about the orientation of the system going east-west. But the grades indicate, and all the geochemistry indicate, that we hit the epithermal system a little too high up. What does that mean? Well, it means we go deeper. Instead of solving this problem from a two-dimensional, now we're on to figuring out the third dimension. To put it in perspective, the vertical extent of Hollister in terms of ore grade material next door, it's about 1,400 feet. If we're hitting 8 grams per ton, Placer hit 12.5 grams per ton material in the same area. If we're hitting that at the top of the system, well, the grade potential down deep is huge, and we've got a lot of room to figure that out. So we're planning on going back within a matter of weeks. We've got the drill rig confirmed for February 1st to start drilling, and we're going back to drill straight down 2 deep vertical holes, 750 meters. We're going to try and get to the bottom of this to figure out where that boiling zone is, where the high-grade epithermal gold is going to drop out.
Right. Okay. So
that's
what I'm hearing is the plan is to work out what you've got with some drilling, and once you've worked out what you've got, you're going to do what? You're going to talk to some of the people around you. You're going to go out to market, get more money, and drill more. What's the idea?
If we hit anything substantial, if we're able to prove it, we've got a geologic interpretation on the back of this that suggests we've got up to 5 kilometers of trend potential going across east-west. We've got, and that's backed up by data now. If we hit anything in the way of high grades, which are inherent on our gold belt, I mean, I'm not getting out of bed for an 8 gram per ton intercept, but I'll take that at the top of a system. I'm getting out of bed to find the similar stuff that Midas found and you see at Hollister. Those are, 2 of the top 10 highest grade gold mines on the planet at one point when they're operating.
Right. So that's the plan.
So that's the plan. We're a one asset company. If we hit something like that, whether we like it or not, someone's going to take us out. I don't control enough stock to block that. And you think I want to be building a mine? Give me a break.
Great.
No, we're going to be. Listen, this is a major mining project wrapped up in a one asset junior company, and we're getting some serious momentum.
You've given us some insight into your thinking there. Okay, that's great. Okay, I'm not going to get into the who, how, when, and what it's going to cost you, because I think you've got some drilling to do. But you do have a private placement which you're trying to get over the line at the moment. How much are you raising?
Yeah, we're raising 1.5 million bucks.
Right.
This is all going to go into the ground. It's we're doing a unit at 20 cents with a half warrant at 30 cents, good for 2 years.
Right.
We're placing larger people in here. So we've seen some weakness in the last week or two. If you want to look at the data of the trading, it's actually been one seller primarily that's been dumping.
Why? Why? What's going on?
It coincides right with a 4-month hold coming off of a previous private placement that was in the money. So if people want to cycle through and take their principal investment out and come along for the ride in the half warrant, that's fine. Listen, everyone's got their own strategies, and this company is bigger than any one shareholder.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, there's a business side to things and there's a technical side of things, and I'm here to try and marry the two. So we're raising 1.5 million at 20 cents. We're positioning larger groups in here, so none of these guys are getting dissuaded by what retail is doing, because we're trying to place people for between 100,000 and 500,000, and if they want to buy that position in the market, they can, but we'll give them a much.
But as it stands, people will be paying a premium at 20 cents. But you're saying the recent drop since last week, 10 days or so, has been one major holder coming off a 4-month hold. That's the reason. Yeah,
it's verifiable. You can look. It's 1.3 million shares by one house selling. Granted, I think it looks like they're near exhausted. Today we've tightened up a fair bit.
Okay. So you think 20 cents will be you'll be able to get that placement over the line, and when's that close?
We're moving well, and we're going to be as I said, we've got our drill committed for February to start drilling again anyway. So this is a great time to get in. I mean, our 52-week high was back in October, I believe. It was 35.5 cents.
Yep.
We're traded down to 16 cents the other day on the back of this person selling, maybe 15. And now I think we're back up at 18. So this is a bit of a shakeout. But listen, it's the junior explorers. The stocks to avoid in this industry generally are the ones that go in a straight line. Listen, this business isn't about having a straight line. You want to have a chart that looks healthy. Our original run up actually looked pretty healthy because we kept consolidating, and then 3 cents, and then 10 cents we traded there, then 10 cents to 20, and then 20 to 35, and now we're back down to 20. Okay. Well, everyone's positioned higher than they are, and this is we're poised for next leg up. We've got more assays coming soon.
I get it. Okay, so I think you've got to raise that. You need this placement to be able to raise the money to do the drilling. You've got a bit of cash in the bank at the moment. How much are you sitting on?
Oh, well, we raised $1 million back in September, and I think we spent a little over $1 million into the ground in this last drill program. We're fortunate to have had a whole bunch of warrant exercises come in. So it paid for an additional hole, which we weren't budgeting for. It paid for downhole geophysics in a survey. It paid for some conference. The first time this company's ever presented at a conference was in Zurich at the Precious Metal Summit. So we've been able to get a lot of bang for the buck in terms of dollars raised versus money deployed. Now we're topping up again and keep going. It's the nature of the beast.
You've been buying in the market. I've been looking. You've been buying regularly, so that's good. Are you paying yourself?
I can't.
Are you paying yourself?
Listen, I can't. Yeah, I am. This is one of the only jobs I think where it's actually cost me much more money too. I've put in something like 150 grand since I started. I was doing a back of the napkin sort of stuff, and when I joined, I think I took amount of $10,000 a month. Consulting, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
I think in terms of I also put my practice on hold. And I was making some good money there. So I took a huge step back in pay to right the ship here. I'm just doing enough to keep the lights on, and frankly, as I said, I've put in a hell of a lot more than I'm taking out, and I continue to buy. So I'm going to be putting some writing a check into this upcoming placement too.
What's the board pay themselves? I mean, what's the total cost overhead for the board?
The board,
Alan,
nothing.
Those guys.
Oh, Bill. Well, the directors don't get anything. Bill is operational, so he gets a salary. He took a huge step back to BR2. I can't remember what he's getting, but it's less than half of what he was making in his last job. His job before this, he founded a company called Rye Patch Gold. It was also a Nevada gold explorer turned producer. That was sold for $120 million Canadian about 6 months before he took the job here. He didn't come here for the money, and he didn't come here to report to me or work with a first timer. He came here because Silver Cloud's always attracted him, and he thought he got it wrong the first time. So it's good. We're a hungry management team, and we're committed to spending the money in the ground.
Okay. Have you got offices in, where are you, Toronto?
No, I'm in Vancouver.
You're in Vancouver,
we have an office.
Right.
Yeah, it's the same office. I think the company's getting a banger of a deal. I think it's about $500 a month.
Oh, nice.
We're lean and mean. Yeah,
nice.
Yeah. This is a tight ship. Our
Good.
overheads next to nil.
Okay, that's kind of where I was getting to, and like just kind of wrap up, because it's nice to have fresh stories like these, for our, subscribers and viewers.
Yeah.
So I've enjoyed listening to this and the energy you have, but at the same time, you've got to sell into the market and persuade the market that this isn't just a very enthusiastic, dynamic young man called Andrew Pollard telling a story. When are you going to be able to show them that results that justify and validate what you're saying now?
The next 6 months is going to be absolutely. Yeah, I'm taking sleeping pills these days because it's like a kid looking forward for Christmas morning. The next 6 months, we're going to be doing some serious footage in terms of drilling. We've got we're still awaiting more than. I think the market doesn't understand this. We haven't released a full hole of assays yet. We're still waiting on the lowest sections from hole 1, some sections from hole 2. We haven't got those yet. We just put up partial results, enough to know that we proved our concept. We still got full holes 4 and 5. 5 was by far the deepest hole of the last program. We think we might have hit the boiling zone on that, but ultimately results will be the judge. But as I said, 2 weeks from, so in addition to those results coming out, we've got the drill coming back to do 2 vertical holes to test the extent there, 750 meters. We're also planning to drill for the first time this brand new target, which we identified this summer. This is Bill's discovery. It's directly west of the Hollister mine. The veins in Hollister are literally pointing at this. We found 8 veins outcropping at surface. There's gravity lows up there. We've already correlated these gravity lows throughout our system to be mineralized. We think they're these geyser basins where there seems to be lots of intrusives forming, and the high grade veins are very closely associated with that. They're directly adjacent to these gravity lows. We've got 3 of them up in this area. We're going to be doing discovery hole drilling up there. We've got a 3,500 meter RC program slated for summer. We're going to do some geophysics to tighten up some of the targeting. But listen, if you've got some of the veins from one of the highest grade gold deposits on the planet, literally going pretty much right up to your property border, and you've got 8 veins outcropping at surface in the middle of Nevada, yeah, I get out of bed for that every day. But we're much more advanced down at where our current drilling's focused, and we know we're pulling at threads, and luckily now we know we're finally starting to get somewhere. So this is going to be a very busy, active 6 months.
Fantastic, Andrew. Great story. Like I say, love the energy. I want to stay in touch and hear how you're doing, and I'll have whatever you're drinking because the energy levels are off the charts.
Awesome.